This is your weekend market recap for Friday, September 16th, 2022. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market recap for Friday, September 16th, 2022. Hopefully you had a good week. A lot going on. This is going to be an interesting recap. Please stick around. Be aware that, again, the Discord room has been locked up. I appreciate everybody's love and support. The donations have been generous. And, yeah, it's just been a lot going on. A very busy week. Got a busy week next week as well. Just please be safe out there. A lot of people getting bearish at the lows, just like they got bullish at the highs this week. And this is a bear market, a.k.a. traders market. If you're not familiar with such, let's get into the notes. Let's deep dive into it. First, what did we talk about with Bitcoin? Probably stuck. Bullish, bearish, tough to know. I would just watch these levels. Just keep it simple. You don't want to see new lows, and if you're a bear, you don't want to see it get over these highs. And you can see right here why this would be important. 25,100. Oil. Stuck. Haven't had a hurricane. I mean, what are the odds? No hurricanes in hurricane season. Keep an eye on it, because again, I think the pops to be shorted and drops, it's probably going to be choppy, but it's going to end up down in the 60s. I don't know when the market's going to capitulate and turn over, but let's talk about that shortly here when we get into some of the other names. The dollar, we talked about what? Hitting the channel, backing off. Held the 20-day, now chopping near the top. You know what? I don't really know near term. I really don't know. I've seen this pattern before where you kind of retest, you chop, you could cup and handle, or you come up and then you come back down. I mean, there's a lot of what I would say noise. I still remember post OPEX in June, the quarterly, you had this, the June quarterly, it came back down. I'm going to assume the dollar is long-term bullish, short-term bearish. Just based on the most recent action up here, it just seems to be a little tired. Just keep an eye on it, because the dollar is going to tell you things. TLT, a lot of people are like, oh, when's this going to go? And I've said this a dozen times. Whenever it's ready. Whenever it is ready. Keep in mind, the last June quarterly, OPEX again is when TLT started rising. Just keep that in mind. I think we're probably in this basing formation. It's clean and simple, is what it is. The VIX, wow, they literally smashed the VIX into the close. They finally got it. VIX termination, we talked about it popping up, and then what? Figured it would come back down. Now people are still, keep in mind, like the put-call ratios have gotten nuts. People are hedging, people are shorting, people are buying a ton of puts. And what you have to be very wary of in a bear market, the best down moves are when the market's out of position, like we had earlier in the week. And Monday, everybody was bullish to CPI. I think the Feds are going to have to take the FedEx news, which was sneaky how it literally came out Thursday, which someone probably knew. I mean, someone always knows. Let's never discount that. And we've talked about it. Look at the monthly. I still think it's going to be this sloppy, choppy, action where it goes up and then it comes back down before it goes up. And so if that's the case with the monthly, I mean, I still feel like we probably get down to is it possible to get down to the 20s? Maybe. I'm just not in this. I'm trying to be evidence-based, and at this point, it seemed very controlled that they're holding up the VIX. I think the Feds are going to throw a wild card out there. And again, whether they actually do it, I don't know. But I feel like what they're going to say coming up based on the FedEx news, Adobe news, market slowing, yada, yada, yada. Hey, we're not going to be so, tightish, They're not going to be so thoughtful about what, like, hey, we're, bullish versus dovish, whatever, tightening. I just don't think they're going to say that. And now that's the thing. They may have learned from their mistakes in the previous times. And also, too, you're going into election. They might try to throw the market a near-term bone just because it's so heavily short, right? Check out the HYG. Kind of rambling through a lot of things because, again, this is like junk debt. Look at today's action. Things that aren't bearish, right? Like, if the market was going to take out recent lows and go, it needs to start tanking and falling. it held. We talked about the TLT holding as well. It's tough to know. The Vixen, again, anything near term. I mean, short term, again, I think the market is going to pop because of just the way the sentiment is just blown out. Everyone's bearish. Go look at stock twits. I mean, literally every single news outlet out there, everything I read on Twitter, bearish. Vixen, the same thing, popping up. I still think it comes back. 28s. Keep it in mind. SPY. Let's dig in deep here. So deep. All right, here was the June quarterly OPEX, window OPEX. Doji, then pop. Doji, and then pop. Again, I put those candles there because you have to remember, like, we had this pow kind of movement. And here you go, boom, 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 pow. I think you're going to rally up. And I've said this many times. I don't think you get away without sort of either a chop top or a double top of some sort. It just doesn't seem likely. And again, could we get up probably the 200-day? It just really depends on how the Feds react coming up to this next meeting. I personally think whatever happens is you probably run up into it because there's a lot of people short. Wednesday's a chop. Thursday could be a big pop like it did last time, then flop. So just keep it in mind. There's like a sequence to this stuff. Watch the YouTube. I put some videos on, how to trade around the FOMC. Usually the Monday and Tuesday before are pretty flat, but if everybody is positioned short and the Feds, like the rumors start going around like, oh, hey, the Feds aren't going to do 75 basis points, because I'm starting to see a ton of people screaming out there like, hey, they can't raise. Don't raise too fast. Don't raise too fast. Gunlock, all these people. And maybe they don't, but again, this is the thing that I think people don't realize. Like, they're not going to be able to navigate a soft landing. It's just navigating expectations near term. I think they'll want to get the markets to rise naturally because they don't want to look like put egg on their face, right? They don't want to be the one holds it. And what do we talk about? This gap down today, rather scary. But on the FedEx news, things that aren't bullish. If the FedEx news is bad, which it was, no one's going to argue that, and you gap down and you close at the highs of the day, that means everybody who shorted that day is wrong. QQQ, same thing, got down to this 0.718, rallied right back. Decent volume. Would we not agree? Decent, not amazing, but here you are. And this is what I think might start happening here. It just really depends. We're at this point where we get, all you need is a few days. All you need is a few days. That's what I'm expecting, a few days. A few days of rally. Probably back to where things broke down from or retest of the exact highs. Okay? Just keep it simple. I know bears are like, what is going on? How are you why? A million things. I get it. I'm just telling you, this down move seemed very coordinated based on OPEX. And if you look at the put call ratios, you look at everybody's sentiment, nervous. So here you go. Things that aren't bearish, right? The IWM. The QQQ and the SPY made lower lows, right? We saw that. Look what the IWM did. Double bottom. Doji backed up. That again, here, let me show you the QQQ. Right? Made lower lows. SPY, lower lows, right? Clearly. Now look at the IWM. Something isn't right here. Something isn't right. All right, be aware. Gold. I'm not going to take a victory lap here because I honestly feel bad for the bears or the bulls. Said we were going to break this zone. Now what? Getting a little bit of volume. We talked about everyone in the last 2 years is probably going to be wrong, and then they're going to wipe it out. I personally think you're in this, you're probably going to do what we talked about when we show Apple. You get into this, let me try to draw it. You're going to get into this channel, and it's going to be, I like to do the clones just to where's it duplicate? And then just run it up at the top. You'll probably get into this symmetrical channel. I'm going to close this off because I don't think it's going to matter as much as I want. And you have all these trend lines here. Whatever. My point thinking is maybe you get back up slowly. Then the end move is what you'll see what we saw with Apple today. You break this channel, and then you come back up. We'll talk about it when we get there. Silver. Not surprised it's holding. I mean, everybody's screaming gold silver ratio, yada, yada, yada. Look at this low. I don't see the volume. Again, the best time to buy silver and gold is always, even the miners, when the market capitulates and the VIX spikes. I don't think we're there yet. Here, people are like, oh, double bottom. And it's like, it's just going to get choppy and sloppy down here. I promise. There's a gap down here, maybe no gap left behind. Same thing with the GDX. I like this one better coming out of the bear market of everything, and then commodities leading. I think this one has better upside potential. No gap left behind. We'll get there. Here you go. Here's that channel. It'll just go game over. When probably sometime the official end game is probably going to be more likely October, but we'll see. Now, keep in mind, like, I think the market's going to get really like complacent near term because it's not cold weather time. You know, think about it. Russia's just probably going to lay low and just say, oh, we're not doing much. And then they're going to push hard in the winter, right? That's when they're going to use their Trump card, whatever. You want to talk about, like, when it matters, that's when it's going to matter, in the winter, not the fall, September. You know, people are, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not turning on my AC until very end at the night just to get cold. I mean, it's the temperatures here in Colorado, 70, 80 degrees. You don't really need much AC. I feel like the rest of the country's getting into that. It is mid-September. I know the southeast might still be warm, but it's still it's cooling off. It's like we're in that nice times of the year. Here you go. Talked about it, pulling back. All these names. AG, Newmont. Just leave them alone. PAAS. Leave them alone. I mean, I know it's here, and I showed you guys on the monthly what happened in 2008. It was looking all fine and dandy, holding, chopping, and then smush. I know people don't remember that, but I do, because it hurt very badly. I was like, oh, gold's got to go higher because of this, and the market, the economy's going to crash, and inflation, blah, 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 blah. And then they took the miners literally to the dirt and buried us bulls. I remember I had a little bit in. I was like, oh, never again. Where's the next one? AEM. This one I actually do like because you have volume down here. I expect test the 38s. Just keep it simple. X, we talked about Nucor. X all guiding, trying to like weather the storm. Nucor wasn't as good. X was flat, holding up. Again, I like these names in the long term, not near term. I just let everything come down. Nucor, same thing. Let it all come on down. Here we go. We're at the trend line. Does it hold? Holding. We'll see. I still think you can get down in the 80s, 90s. VALE. Chopping. I don't believe any of these names. Arrow, holding up. Okay, people need copper, but I still think you'll get a retest back in the 8s. Oh, CCJ. I try to tell you folks, just don't long it. Don't short it. Leave it alone. Or if you're going to short it, you got to be very patient. Oops. Professional gap. Held the 20-day. It looks like it's done. Where do I expect it to go? I've said 16 to 18 would be an absolute gift. Maybe it only gets to 21. Just be thoughtful. Again, nothing's safe. When the market pukes and they pull back everything at some point, which they will, bigger, huge, they're going to take all these names that are just lovely names down. Mosaic, same thing. Leave it alone. My friend, I know somebody shorted CF. We talked about the 3 gap trap. 1, 2, 3, boom. Held the 100-day. I still wouldn't short it other than just tactically, but I think you get back into the 80s. Let's talk about tech today because this is where it got real interesting. AMD. Said yesterday, it wasn't really acting that bearish. Look at it again. Small, tight candle, holding up. I don't know what's coming, but somebody knows something. SMH was up today. Somebody knows something. Made a look below and fail. I posted on Twitter. Said, watch the 50% fib on the monthly. Ding, ding, ding. Hit. Bouncing. Now, again, it doesn't necessarily mean like we're going to the moon. Please, I don't want people to get that confused. We're not. I don't think we are. I think we're just going to be playing this game. Chop. Probably get back to 220, 225. Maybe you can get higher. I don't know. It really just depends on what the Feds end up announcing next week because bears are locked in. They think they are about to get the kill of the century. And I'm just telling you, I don't think they are. Apple. Huge volume today. Last time you had that big a volume down here was in the 616 June quarterly OPEX. Led to a straight line up, 143 from 129. I will take 15 points back up to what? 165. Repeating patterns. telling you, I think we're more like down here, near term, and people are going to watch this, head and shoulders, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder. I don't think we're going to get up to all-time highs, but there's going to be reports. I just bought my new watch, thinking of a new phone. Again, I think people are going to buy it. Just they always do. They get excited about Apple products. Whether it's rational or not, that's what they do. I need a new watch. What's up, Cap? Look at this. Goog. We talked about it today. Look at it. Retested the lows, held with volume. I think it's going to be choppy. Remember, choppy. Up, then fails. We'll see what happens. Maybe could this be a one-day event? Man, maybe this could. I don't know. CRM took out the range lows, popped right back. Very tight action on a gap down. Made a little low and popped back. This is hard to be. What's up, Cat? Super bearish, super bullish here, because you know what can be happening here. It can be playing games. It can absolutely play games. If you look at what happened on the 16th, then it proceeded to rally 20 points. Shoot, more than that. 30 points. You never know. I'm telling you, this is where you got to be in a bear market, traders market. Be careful. Don't get too bearish at the lows. Don't get too bullish at the highs. Microsoft comes right back down. Doji, high volume, probably rallies back. Just be careful. We'll see. Amazon, all that news from FedEx. What did it do? It hammered, closed at the highs over the 100-day. I put out a tweet earlier, said watch the 100-day. Look what it did. Things that don't look bearish, right? We're playing this game. Things that don't look bearish. We'll see. Again, retests aren't necessarily bearish. You got to break them. Netflix, what is it doing? Defying gravity, staying over the 20. It was up $4 today. Things that aren't bearish. Now, again, keep in mind, the market's going to probably like if commodities pull back, bonds start stabilizing, tech starts rallying. I'm telling you, this is how this stupid sequence of bull to bear to bear to bull to bull to bear to bear to bull, and then kapow. It has to do that. Remember, bull market doesn't end quickly. Neither does, it takes time. It's going to, in the last leg is the most lucrative short. I'm telling you that. Roblox, things that don't look bullish. This one came back down, but if you look at it weekly, it's just back at the weekly lows. I mean, I don't know. Super bearish? I don't think so. Meta, now this looks like junk. But I don't like to see the compressing action. I want to see I want to see like a green day and then a red and then a green, then red. Like I want to see like this kind of action. I don't like to see multiple days of compression because it usually leads to a pop if I'm a bull or a bear. I mean, because you can tell like it's not acting as strong as it should or as bearish as it should. Because again, this is what I was talking about, like a green, a red, then a green, then two reds, and a green, and boom, boom. You got to be very careful of compression action. Compression, whatever. MicroStrategy. Here you go. Comes back down to the range lows. We'll see what happens. I mean, all these things look like tradable bottoms. I'm going to run through Adobe because this one I thought was interesting because obviously they guided down. Big down day, and then look what happens today, Doji. Now, people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy it. No, the play is to sell puts because this thing could get super choppy for a while. We don't know. Let's pull up NVIDIA because this, again, things that don't look bearish. Look at the action today. Compressing, opens at the lows, closes at the highs, back at the range. We'll see what happens. Tesla, why is it only down 40 cents if the NASDAQ's about to crash? Why is it holding up at the highs? Again, we know they're going to announce deliveries. It's things that aren't bearish, right? It shouldn't be up at the highs. Like, it should be down here in the 270s, and it's not. Financials, 33 on the XLF, held this area. Keep an eye on it. Because, again, this should be much lower. Will we not agree? Financials are holding up. Something's going on. Morgan Stanley, same thing. Making much higher lows than last week. Something's going on. Things that aren't bearish. Even crappy JP Morgan Chase. Ugh. I don't know, man. You got to be careful. XBI doesn't look that bearish. Not near the last week's lows. You see this? NDAQ. Kind of in last week's range lows, but then it bounced right back with a doji. I mean, if you're a bear, you got to be ripping your hair out. All right. People are asking that I do a different stock. And this stock, ENPH, solar names. Put this on your radar to short these things. Absolutely. I mean, solar's is a fad. If you don't remember, go look at, I mean, it always is. Look at the old TAN monthly. TAN. I mean, even in 2008, got absolutely bludgeoned. Because remember, oil was screaming higher. I'm telling y'all, it doesn't end anything other than badly. Man, I gotta clean this chart up. But so PDH, people are saying you gotta short this. Yeah, just don't be early. I think it is gonna turn over. This compression action looks distributive because you pop up, you come right back down, pop up on light volume. Again, solar is a fad. Anyone who's telling you that it's a long-term play, just look at the way the market is pricing these things. Maybe it does, but it still doesn't mean it can't do what? Go from like 282 down to $110, right? Doesn't mean it can't go from 320 back down to like 160. People are going to get a lot of hate on it, but whatever, I'm used to it. EXPI, flat, dead money. Fundamentals mattered. Here's a ENPH before ENPH. Gone. A lot of the crap sounds today. UTHR said, please, the easy money's been taken. Leave it alone. It's jumping back to the breakout. I mean, it's just a chop fest. People talk about hating chop. Here is a definition of insanity chop that's just going to drive you nuts. Keep an eye on it. Let's end it with the oil names. Oil. What did we talk about? 20-day, maybe it gets up to the channel high. It's still in the snowman's land. I'm not really bearish or bullish. I think it is going to go lower. I'm just not that excited about it. Again, I know it's going to cool off, but then at some point a hurricane comes or Russia's going to threaten stuff. UNG, better hold. Talk to get about it. Again, like I still believe longer term this stuff does come down. It's just the near term is going to be extremely choppy, sloppy, doppy. XOP hit our range, hit some numbers that we thought, comes back down. Look, here you go. Hits the 50-day, bounces up. Closes above last week's highs. Things that aren't bearish. Part 2. Part 17,000. ExxonMobil. Here you go. Pops down, hits the 50-day 100, and rallies back. Now, I know a lot of people, again, want to get extremely bearish. And the sentiment next week is it's supposed to be bearish. The week after triple witching OPEX is typically bearish. But you have a Fed meeting, right? The Fed meeting is going to say a lot. And I anticipate you're going to have to trade around your positions. If you want to short, you need to wait for some pops. If you're bullish, you should be buying near the lows. Maybe you get a gap up on Friday or Monday because this action seems very sneaky. Because this is what I think probably ultimately happened. Like you pop up, you chop a couple days, and then the Feds will say something, it'll rip up, and then the day after it'll come back down. Remember, if everyone's bearish and the sentiment is as high as it is, I mean, go check out StockTwits. Everybody, I mean, FinTwit, Reddit, they're all shorting, and they're all complaining the market's rigged. They're about to learn how rigged it really is. Please be safe. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room, and if you can't get the link because you're not, then you gotta just reach out to me. You can find me on the internet. I'm not hiding. Check out my Twitter page. DM me. That's probably the easiest way to get a direct message from me. Because then I'll follow up with you. And one of the things that I will say at this point, I mean, especially with the markets, I mean, and also trying to get into the Discord room, I apologize. I can't help everybody all the time. I'm trying to. I'm trying. I really am. Okay? But you got to do me a favor. And as I say, the students ready to teach your peers. I need people who are ready to, like, again, this isn't like, you have to pledge a fraternity or you have to show your hand and donate thousands of dollars to get in. No. I just want people who are involved. You watch the recaps, you leave comments in this on Twitter. You show that you're paying attention and that you're not just like, hey, because this is what happens. A lot of people in the Discord room, they go, what do you think about this stock? They come in, ask one or two questions. They don't really listen or pay attention. And then next thing you know, they're just wasting my time because they don't really study this stuff. There's tons of videos out there. I mean, again, if you look at my channel, I have 51 back to basics videos. Do I expect everyone to watch every one of them? No. But if you're watching the recaps, you're leaving comments, you seem like you're involved, I don't mind extending an invite. I just want people who don't want to just the easy answer, because that's not trading. The people who are in there now that whine and complain about this, and I'm like, you guys don't realize, like, trading is a probability game. If you don't realize that and you're complaining about it, and this happened this day, again, try to predict 6.5 hours of the day. Now try to predict every day. It's a little different, but not as hard, ideally. All right, I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend again. If you have any questions about real estate, oh my God, if the rates are going to be going down in time, I'm telling you, get pre-qualified, get your ducks in a row, because housing prices in certain areas, we talked about it, they're literally back to where they were 6 months, a year ago. How much farther could they drop? Again, there's a housing shortage. I don't think there's going to be that much. People who have interest rates in the 2.5% to 3% range are not moving. They will live there forever if they can. And the people who have great equity in their houses, like, do they want to cash it out and buy it something at 7-8%? Probably not. So I'm telling you, right now it's a very equal market in that there's enough buyers and sellers. Again, you would think there'd be more sellers, but I'm telling you, there's not a lot of people selling. The people only selling are the ones who are moving or have a particular reason. So be safe. Talk to you later. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.